BSing with
Who?
BSing with
What?
BSing with Sean K. BSing with
Who?
BSing with
What?
BSing with Sean K. BSing with
Who?
BSing with
What?
BSing with Sean K.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BSing with Sean K podcast. I'm your host, Sean Kneese. The K is silent. And on this podcast, I talk with people who live outside the box and provide a platform for opinions not often heard in the mainstream media. And this is episode 87. With another Sean, a fellow Sean Gibbs, who I met about 5 years ago at an acting class, and we talk about that a bit in the episode. And he is a stand-up comedian, and he's Brooklyn. He's based in Brooklyn, and he performs in a lot of stand-up clubs throughout the different boroughs in New York. And he's also an actor, and also performs percussion-based music, but stand-up and comedy is the main thing he's pursuing now. And it was a really cool conversation. He came up to South Orange from, I think he was in Long Island during the time. He's from Brooklyn, though. But he came up to see me in South Orange to record the interview, which was cool. I always like doing in-person interviews the most. Either I go to meet up with the person with my portable equipment, or they come here, because I think that adds a lot to it, recording in person. I mean, I like Skype interviews too, but I think I'm going to try to do more and more in-person interviews, because I think that adds a lot. Anyway, I don't want to give too much more away about the episode, because that'll just be redundant. It'll just, you'll just have to hear it all in the conversation. So here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so I'm here with another Sean Gibbs.
Hey there, how's it going?
And this is his first podcast.
This is my first podcast ever doing any of this.
And he's here you're a comedian, actor. We met at an acting class.
We did have an acting class. It was okay.
Yeah, it was like an intro.
Yeah, it wasn't, a lot of people dropped out.
Oh yeah, that was true. I think there was only like 3 people at the end. Yeah.
It started out, there was a lot of really good-looking people that probably thought that they were going to instantly be actors and be famous, and then they realized that they had to do the glass menagerie and had to actually study and act.
And then they just got bored, I guess.
Yeah, they just stopped showing up. One guy that was my scene partner who never showed back up was calling me to ask me if I could get drugs for him.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. I liked it. I don't have any. I don't have any resources really, but it was just like, now can you show up to do our scene tomorrow?
Yeah, but you like some other. You've taken other classes at the Barrel Group, right? You said you took like improv.
Yeah, I took improv, and then that led me to theatrical clowning, which I've taken more classes of than any other thing.
Nice. What's that like? What was that like?
It's about finding your clown. It's a theatrical clowning, so it's not like rodeo clown or like a circus clown. It's just about being present, showing up, and then kind of just realizing how ridiculous we all are. And that definitely transfers into everyday life. I tell people a lot that improv and stand-up, I make people laugh by talking. But clown, I can just look at somebody and they'll start laughing. So it's
more like, I guess, cartoonish kind of humor, like slapstick.
No, actually, buffoon is a little closer to slapstick and stuff like that. But like traditional clowning it can be a little more sinister, maybe a little more evil, a little more
Pennywise.
Yeah, they're not very socialized clowns. So yeah.
And how long have you been doing this? Like, when did you get started at wanting to perform?
Well, I was with you, and I always wanted to take an acting class, so I did. And I meant to do it earlier in life, and then I got involved. While I was waiting for our second class to start, an improv class started, and I was like totally afraid of that. So I took it, loved it, took another class, And then I bumped into somebody who was an intern at the pit, and she was wanting to leave her internship early, so she asked me if I wanted to do that. And I applied, and I went to the pit for 2.5 years.
Oh, so it went from improv into comedy.
It went from acting to improv to clown to stand-up and sketch comedy, writing, and acting.
So I kind of saw you at the beginning then.
You saw, when I was the little embryo, when I was just forming fingernails.
And and that was only like maybe like
3.5 years ago. Maybe?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I guess you've done a lot since then.
I've been doing a crazy amount of writing and performing and anxiety-induced, just everything.
So what are the themes of your comedy? What do you talk about?
A lot of hipster topics. I try to write from what I know about, like, my neighborhood. I live in Bed-Stuy, so I kind of try to write about the changing of that. I kind of do a weird thing where I point the finger at the neighborhood, but I'm pointing it at me because I'm like an original hipster. I'm the one kind of causing a lot of this to happen where I go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of it is making fun of myself, definitely.
Okay, and hipster, you mean like punk music kind of stuff? Or, I guess. Because I remember,
I did do, I was involved in a lot of punk and funk and soul and music like that. But hipster, pretty much more like people gentrifying low-income neighborhoods.
Okay.
We have a CrossFit gym in my neighborhood. I've been living there 7 years. I couldn't believe that Myrtle Broadway would have a CrossFit gym.
Because I know it can also mean like people into like alternative kind of stuff.
Yeah, back in the day, it was like Cool Daddy-O,
Yeah.
I mean, I still have my Ode to the Beatniks, which were the original, well, I guess maybe not the original hipsters, but I think that's where the kind of turn with the horn rim glasses,
Oh, like where the look came from.
Yeah, with like, playing bongos in Harlem and just being hip and cool to like what's new and what's happening, what's going on, being like, and having sex.
It's kind of bohemian.
Yeah, definitely bohemian.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely more on the bohemian side of that.
Yeah, but so that you talk more like it's more like about yourself and your everyday life and letting the audience get to know you.
Yeah. I try not to put on like a character to make fun of that. I try to be as much as myself as possible, which is usually when I get the most laughs. Like if I try really hard to be funny or try to put on something that I'm not, or tell a story that's not true, it generally doesn't fly very well.
Yeah, because people want to be able to relate.
It definitely, you can feel it when a comedian is kind of bearing their soul too,
or like forcing it.
Yeah, definitely.
And what has your experience been like performing? Was it difficult at first doing stand up, and then you got more comfortable with it? Or?
I was horrible. I was absolutely I have a video of like my class show, and I got a lot of laughs because it's a class show and it was sold out. So everybody wants you to succeed, but just like looking back now, I guess it's like being a musician. Like say you jumped into a band like in the first few months you started playing bass, and then you recorded the show, and then like years later you found this old dusty DVD or VHS, and you look at it and you're like, oh my god, like I'm staring at my feet and missing notes, and simple. It's such a simple song. Why couldn't it be so? So it's kind of like that. There's still some pieces from my original stuff and topics and premises that I still use though from my very first show. But yeah, it definitely got easier just by going through the motions.
So maybe the delivery, you improved more on the delivery of the same jokes.
Oh yeah.
So they went over better than
timing, studying other comics every single night for 2.5 years until 6 a.m. Like just like a comedy nerd, just yeah. It definitely helps to overindulge.
Yeah. So I guess you've dived into pretty much like every art form, I guess, right? Like, because you said music, you used to do music too, like bongos.
I played a conga. I played African percussion, Brazilian percussion, Originally, I was a guitar player, played cello. I was supposed to go to college for composition for classical music. Then I was a singer. I used to play at like CBGB's, Arlene's Grocery, Frying Pan, stuff like that. I lived in Manchester, England, playing in bands, Kansas City in bands, and until I got bit by the comedy bug. So, but yeah, I never did anything like painting. Maybe later in life I'll paint landscapes or.
So you think comedy's like where you want to stay for the foreseeable future?
I feel like I don't have a choice now. Like I keep thinking, like I know a lot of comedians. They're like, I should just quit. I should just stop. Like you get this fear of like I'm not funny. I don't know what I'm doing. But then you like go out and you kill. You have an amazing show, or you have a great open mic, or your jokes land with your friends, or it's like it's almost like it feeds off of you, and then you feed off of it, and it just becomes a cycle, and you're like,
so it's not even like something you're conscious of totally. It's almost like
yeah, because it's you, like Mark Maron said, you never know when you're done. You're just constantly like you'll wake up in the middle of the night and thankfully I keep a pen by my bed or like my phone, so because you're never done. He's like Mark Maron's like he's like he wishes he was a fry cook or like a grill cook, so he would know when he was done. Oh, there's that last ticket.
So it's like there's a need to do it. It's like
you're constantly having an impulse to be like, oh, like look at that Jensen thing. Why does it look like that? Why is it's like we're like these clowns that are just amazed and wondered by why things are funny, and I don't know. It's a disease.
And do you ever get into like political or so?
I started to write some stupid one-liner stuff, and I could probably keep it up, but it was more like, my dick's so big that it thinks it wants to run for president. Or my dick's so full of itself that it decided to vote independent last time. And I'm like, these jokes did not go over well whatsoever. But it was in a weird gig. But I don't know. I still like to stay away from the political stuff. Like, it's so fleeting.
So you want to stick to stuff that like you can directly relate to, like your direct experience.
Yeah, a little more universal topics. Like, I'll quote another comedian just because I don't want to make it sound like I'm this genius. But like, Seinfeld's like, do you want to hear about what Richard Nixon did back in the day? Like, no one, it's so like topical and it's so week by week that I feel like it falls flat when you start to hear what's going on right now. I mean, there is definitely a place for it. I think you'd have to be really good, but then you still have to be universal. Like Wanda Sykes is really good about it.
Yeah, like Kevin Hart mentioned something like he doesn't like he likes to keep it like his personal life so as many people can relate. Like he doesn't like his comedy to be divisive. That's what he said.
Yeah,
in an interview,
definitely.
he said that in a podcast.
Yeah, because you could probably see the whole arena fucking separate.
Yeah,
and you can also be like, you can feel the air run out of the room. Like if I just said to you right now, Dick Cheney. I mean, it's in the past, but it's like a woo. Like, I mean, I could say anyone that's in our offices right now.
Yeah. And then the quote won't be like as timeless.
It's just.
But I guess George Carlin had some like timeless political jokes at times. Like he said stuff about like the politicians in general.
Yeah, he wasn't
like,
going
to.
He wasn't making like George Bush jokes or Bill Clinton jokes, but he definitely had a universal idea of how politicians work, and his stuff still stands up to this day. You can go back and everything he was talking about. This country was bought and sold a long time ago. That's why I don't vote. Your vote doesn't matter. And like if you listen to every little thing that he says about what was going on back then, he's so concise and so precise and such a genius with his wordsmithing, and it just still blows me away. Some of his stuff I can't listen to, but about 90% of it I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I guess like there's no comedian you can agree with like 100% or like
I don't know, maybe Tom Segura. He's pretty agreeable.
So like what do you have planned next, like for the near future?
So I wrote this sketch a few years ago that we were in this work study sketch program. We did a show, and my friends are going to film it next week. I'm not going to be a part of the direction, but I get to put in a little input. They're filming that next week. It's my first sketch that'll be filmed. It's going to be like a professional gig kind of thing. I just booked 4 or 5 gigs at Freddy's in advance because we just started playing there to do a monthly show. I do a monthly show at the Parkside Lounge, which we're going to move during the week because we do much better during the week for some reason. I do a monthly show at the Pit, and then we have a weekly open mic at the Parkside Lounge. Did I already say it at the Parkside Lounge? Do a monthly show at the Parkside, monthly show at the Pit, monthly show at Freddy's, and a weekly show on Thursdays at the Parkside Lounge.
Nice. So it's like a consistent thing.
Yeah, I definitely need to be doing a lot more than that. It may sound like a lot, but whenever I run into people I admire, they're like Gabriel Pacheco or Gianmarco Cerezi. They're like doing like 2 mics a day, maybe hosting one of them, or maybe hosting both, and then going to do 2 shows, or like maybe filming a commercial in it. And like
so it's like a 24-hour.
These guys are like monsters, you know. And I want to be more like that. I guess I just don't have the confidence to be just digging it out like that every day. I'm just lazy. I'm old. They're young. They're attractive.
Yeah, what's your experience like with the New York comedy scene? Like, have you tried out other? Do you plan on checking out like other scenes or like?
I was actually talking to a buddy of mine about renting his car and taking a tour up the East Coast, maybe in the Catskills, maybe go to, I don't know, even Vermont or like, I don't know, Maryland. Just book a tour and like try to figure out how to do it. I don't know if I'd need an agent. But as far as like New York comedy, I love it in the fact that, well, in a weird way, I've kind of created my own universe with my other idiot co-producer friends. Not idiots, we're just clowns. John Listman and Michael Malone are co-producers with these shows and open mics. So we curate our shows from the people we meet through our open mics and the shows that we do. So I've been getting a lot of compliments on. People are like, oh my god, like people that work at the bars that we do stuff. They're like, your people were so great. Everyone was so nice, and so you guys just bring like this really good energy. So, but then I hear about like I've been to some mics where I'm like, I don't ever need to come back here. I just don't. Like there's like a weird club mentality or like a inside.
It didn't feel like an open.
No, it felt like an inside.
Yeah.
Like these guys only hang out with each other and they make inside jokes to each other. So I think maybe we kind of created a weird bubble for ourselves that we definitely need to get out of. My guys go to other mics which are brutal. I won't name where they went, but my buddy said he went to one yesterday and they just filed them in like cattle. Didn't treat them nice. The room was shit. No one gave a fuck. I'm like, that's not why I want to do that at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to go pay to go to a dingy nightclub to just be shit on by, you know, or just treated like, because I've been to open mics where they just did, you can tell the host doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
But like we treat it like a show. Like if it's your first time coming in, I'm gonna treat you like you're a rock star and that you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the vibe. Like I think if I go out on the road, I want to kind of bring that with me too. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to play some shitholes and play some great places.
Yeah, and this is in Brooklyn, the open mic you're on?
It's in the Lower East Side.
Okay, so it's like comedians only? Or like
Comedians only.
Comedians.
Yeah, no musicians, no magicians. I was going to have Scott Benjamin do one of our shows. We still might. I'm going to try to sneak him in. But my buddy doesn't want to have any magicians for the show. But he's more like, it's more like stand-up than the magic, but I get it.
Yeah. So it gets clicky, like, with different parts of the scene, yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's a fear thing. It's like anything else. It's like musicians do it, too. You know, I've been in bands where we only hung out with other bands that we played shows with.
And the same bands played the same shows.
Or like, you know, it's a herd mentality, I guess. I don't know. Maybe someone would come into our place and think the same thing. I hope not, but...
Yeah.
But I do find that in the comedy world, if you're genuine, it just shows. And you can tell who's doing the work. I've been around arrogant people, and then I go watch their shows. I'm like, you didn't prepare for this at all. Like, you're not doing a good job of what you're supposed to be doing. You've been doing stand-up for 10 years, and I didn't laugh once. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. And I guess if it doesn't feel authentic, then you can't
Yeah.
relate. Yeah.
But I can see somebody who's just started out like 3 months ago that'll make me laugh. I'll be like so happy to see these, you know, like failing.
So some people have it and some people don't.
I think the people that do the work have it. It's night and day.
Yeah. So it's not something like you naturally have. It's like something you
Ooh.
get.
Oh, here we go. Digging in deep. I was talking to my mom about this the other day, and she said that you always had it. It's just, and I was like, yeah, I just didn't work on it. I didn't hone the craft. She's like, yeah, and I was like, I don't know where I got it from. And I was thinking back, it might have been from like watching. I watched a lot of comedy growing up, or maybe it was from like some of my family members or something. So I don't know. It's like, I guess, like, did Mozart just have it when like he was playing at 5 years old, or was it because his father forced him to sit and play for 14 hours a day? Yeah, I think that people maybe can be funnier later in life and develop that skill.
But I mean, I guess like if you work at anything long enough, you're bound to get better at it in some way.
If you apply yourself and notice the patterns and what makes things funny. Because I guess like Judd Apatow, like maybe he wasn't as funny when he first started, but he went out and interviewed hundreds and hundreds of comedians, and like that's what he did for years, and like he immersed himself in it. So I think, I don't know, because I guess like if you think of like maybe like kung fu, like if a kid came in and he was just naturally physically like able to do all the stuff and immediately became a black belt, I guess you could say he was a natural at it, or maybe he just had the attributes. I don't know. Maybe he was raised.
But he'd still have to like practice.
Yeah. So I'm saying I'm a ninja with comedy. So watch the
comedy
fuck out. Sean Gibbs, comedy ninja. On Comedy Central. Never watched by anyone ever.
So I guess like any like negative experiences playing, or any like what have you learned? I guess like over the years.
Negative, I think, is that most comedians beat themselves the fuck up all the time. Like, I'll prepare for a show, and I'll think that I don't have anything, and then I'll go, and I'll take out my previous set list, and I'll be like, I'll have like 25 bullet points, and I'll have it out in front of my friend, I'll be like, oh my god, that's how many bullet points you have? He's like, I go up with like 4. Or like I'll have like going in like spread out before like an open mic. I'll just be working furiously, and I'll have all this stuff, and people will be like, wow man, you really write. They're like, how do you become a better writer? I'm like, just hate your jokes, just hate the fuck out of them, just do not like them, because if it forces you so hard to reconstruct and deconstruct and all that. But I think I could see why people tend to while out and fizzle out by doing drugs and excessive drinking, because I'll definitely drink, but like maybe being on the road and it's kind of a lonely feeling, I guess maybe there's kind of a aloneness to it,
like just going out there, like being the one like pouring your heart out on stage.
Yeah, I think that's the good part.
Good.
And then there's a come down after that. But I think if some people like are obsessed with like bombing, I love bombing. It's so much fun for me to hear the air get sucked out of the room. So I think a lot of things that would normally depress somebody else, I actually get off on. So yeah, the darker stuff.
So I guess it's lonely because they're just traveling. Yeah, and just traveling, and if they bomb certain places, like there's a feeling of like being disconnected.
Yeah, or maybe they think that, oh, this is going to be the make or break show for me, or maybe
it seems bigger in their minds than it actually is.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like Mom, I got to go write because I'm not ready for this show. Like, I'm playing at the Pit. I'm not getting paid, you know? It's not like I'm trying out for, like, not Carson, but, you know, the Tonight Show. But it's like, I think we probably give ourselves a greater sense of importance than it actually really is.
Yeah. Because like probably most people like won't remember like the bad stuff
No.
anyway. They'll remember a good joke.
I heard somewhere that they won't remember your jokes probably, but they'll remember how they felt.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, "Oh my god, that guy was so funny," or "Oh god, that guy was not. I felt weird. That guy made me feel gross inside," or you know, like, yeah, that guy talked about suicide all the time.
Yeah, so are there certain environments where like it's like a night like I guess a more accepting environment, like if you bomb and stuff, or are others more like harsh, like the next comedian will like rip into the comedian who just bombed?
Yeah, I think we're all there for each other in that kind of fun way. Like, if maybe a comedian before me didn't have a good set or a great set, a lot of us will tag some of their lines to appreciate that and let the comedian know that we watched them and paid attention. So if someone was like, "Oh yeah, this let's just say Jeffrey was talking about his girlfriend and how they broke up and blah blah blah. I had the same thing and I was broken up and I had the same situation." And then I'll go maybe into
so you're into like making the person look better.
Oh yeah,
Like,
totally.
Yeah.
Always, unless they burn the house down. And I haven't actually had a problem with that yet. I haven't had a comedian come and shit on the audience.
Like,
So that might be a
so
difference.
unless they really go like overboard, or maybe like punch down. in
Or
their
if someone came out of the audience and punched them, yeah.
Oh no, I mean like
No, yeah,
like making jokes, like punching down with their jokes rather than like punching.
Yeah.
That makes like making fun of like a disenfranchised group or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah. I think if people just get up and they're mean, and then they get no laughs, and then blame it on the audience, then I mean, I'd still come out and try to make them look good for the show, I guess, or make me look great.
Yeah. Yeah. And does it vary like in different environments, or is it sometimes cooler like in other environments? Or
There's been times where I had my whole set written out and I wanted to do some pretty edgy material, and I just kind of looked out at the audience and I was like, okay, I've got to skip about 4 of these jokes. But then there's a weird thing that maybe those jokes would have landed even though they were super crazy edgy. But yeah, there's different rooms have different vibes. Your head's space that you're in that day, your delivery, how many times you've done open mics before with the same material. But then I'm kind of dangerous. I like to try out new stuff in front of live audiences and not mics. I love it.
Oh, so most people test like level.
Yeah.
Maybe you like to do an actual gig and
Yeah, most people would
Nice.
like to do a few open mics with new material before they go up. But I write so much that, not meaning that I'm better or worse, there's just more garbage. But I just love that feeling of getting up completely barren. This is the first time I've ever said this joke in front of an audience, and there's like 30 people in here, and this could go really well, or this could just shit the bed. So
it's all about the delivery, I guess, like how you say it, like because the same joke can
yeah,
be said one day and not make people laugh. But,
yeah.
yeah.
I love trying out new stuff because there's definitely an enthusiasm behind it. Unlike the other maybe 15 or 20 jokes that I've got sitting in reserve that I already know are going to work. That I've already gotten laughs at open mics, at shows consistently for a couple of years.
So you like taking a risk with it, not just playing it safe and just using the same.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly trying out different techniques, different styles, different. So that's it's not just like how many farmers does it take to change a light bulb. You know, it's like I won't test new material. It's constantly new stuff that I haven't worked on before.
And have you like been able to incorporate like anything you learned from the other art forms like acting or music into comedy?
Oh, definitely. Here's an interesting thing that you'll appreciate as a musician, which I need to get back and do. Was it last summer or maybe before that? I was having really bad problems with my timing, and I could just tell it just wasn't there. So I went and watched specials of Tom Segura and Anthony Jeselnik, and I transcribed their specials. But not only did I write the words, I tried to write where they punched up, made certain words louder, And here's the special trick, which I encourage anyone to do if you're doing comedy. Time the spaces when they pause. If they start to tell a joke and there's pauses in between the words, I would put these little dots in meter, and I would also time how long it took them after they told their punchline of the joke and when they started their next joke. And it changed everything for me. So that was a very musical thing. I bought some poetry books so I could learn more about meter to get my timing down a little more. Acting, definitely. Clown work, definitely. Acting, subtle little things like what you do with your hands, or like doing something that you would normally do. Like sometimes I'll pick my nose on stage, or sometimes I'll scratch my head,
or like a gesture that fits with a certain joke.
Yeah, because you are kind of acting. I mean, you are an actor.
Yeah, but you're acting like as yourself,
which is hard.
Which I guess a lot of acting is kind of acting as yourself, unless you're playing like a really like crazy character too.
Yeah,
like because you're trying to feel it as yourself, even if the character is different than you.
But definitely, I think theatrical clowning has helped more than anything. Just by looking down, looking up at the audience, looking at people, engaging people. Like, I have to keep reminding myself, like, okay, when you go up, you're going to do clowning. You're going to be looking at everybody. If you see someone laugh, look at them. If you see someone in the back that you haven't looked at yet, try to. So it's like, try to get engaged with everybody in the audience.
So they like feel part of the.
Yeah, and you can feel that energy start to grow. Like once you acknowledge people in the audience, or like you start to tell a joke to a person, not to the crowd, but to a person, then that's when, if they laugh, then the laugh starts to move around the room and really makes a big difference.
Because they feel like, oh, that was said to me.
Yeah, he was telling me a joke. He was acknowledging me, and a lot of times people don't want that. But a lot of times when they go to comedy, they want to be like, oh my god, he's going to say something, or like.
Yeah. Do you ever do the picking out people in the audience, or?
All the time.
Yeah.
My buddy John Listman just kind of turned a curve the other day, where he just immediately, right when he went on stage, just confronted this group of 20 that came in a really positive way. Yeah. And it really made such a huge difference, because then everybody else who came onto the stage immediately laid into like, oh, we already have patterns set with these guys. We know these guys dress alike. We know where they're from. We know one guy's from Argentina. We know they're all in finance. And it's like, oh, we can start doing crowd work with them, and they're ready to have fun. And like if I go to someone and I do crowd work and I can tell they're not ready, I'll just move on. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So there's like other more friendly ways to do it than just like ripping on the person. Like,
yeah, I usually don't try to rip too hard on the audience member. I mean, I'll make a stupid joke like, oh, you're from this town? Oh, so you're not from a real town? Like, I'll just play. I'm just kidding. I love that place, or whatever. But yeah, I think berating the audience is not going to really help you.
Yeah, because then they're not going to feel comfortable.
Unless you've been doing it for like 20 years.
Yeah, and you never know like what people are. It's hard because you don't know the person too. You don't know what they're sensitive about,
or if they're drunk or high, or hate you. I grew up with a guy that looks like you, motherfucker. I hated him too. Kicked his ass. That kind of shit.
He thought he was a funny guy.
Yeah,
too.
he thought he was real funny until I gave him a slap. Exactly.
So, I guess any final like anything maybe we haven't covered, like anything else you want to mention, like about comedy or anything else you're doing.
I'm going to talk about a friend. I don't know how much time we have, but
yeah, we could go like a little longer, like maybe like 15 more minutes. Yeah, I mean it's only 30 minutes.
50. Okay, I just want to say something that it's really amazing how the path of comedy is set with people who you will become friends with almost immediately, and then maybe sometimes like having not seen you for a long time, it's very cyclical. It comes back around a lot. And a friend of mine who I used to work in a bar with, who's a screenwriter named Paul Sato, who writes for Adam Sandler now, I just started getting back in contact with him, and it's such an amazing feeling to like be a writer, myself as a joke writer and a comedian, acting and doing all this stuff, and being able to talk to somebody like my friend who I haven't seen in a few years, it's really successful. He's got like the most successful comedy album in the Billboard charts right now. Like, he's killing it. Like, so I think that's the thing about,
like, being happy for other people's success.
yeah. Like, he's so, like, I've got a friend who's been doing comedy as well for 20 years, and he's just like, man, I'm so proud of you. You're like in New York and you're doing it. It's not about like, oh, you're making $3 million a year selling out arenas. It's like, you're just doing it, man. And like, I think there's that genuine thing with like, I don't want to say like true artists, but like musicians and like comedians and like painters and like, maybe it's more, I gotta pull that back. I think the comedians, like, we have a different vibe amongst each other, but like, when like, I've done shows with my heroes already in the local circuit, and
ones like local ones, or like
like Sally Ann Hall, John Marco, Gabriel, Brittany Brave, like to be able to, I guess it would be like if you went and you've been playing for like 3 years and you got an opening slot for like the Dead Kennedys doing their reunion tour. You'd be like, oh my fucking God, are you kidding me? How is this even possible? But maybe they just enjoyed your vibe and wanted to hang out with you. I think that's the biggest thing about comedy and the comedians that we hang out with. It's like, we just like hanging out. And those are the people I want to do shows with. And I want
the ones that are like, it's a collaboration kind of like, or like not kind of. I guess that's
cohesiveness,
right.
maybe.
Yeah,
it's just like
cooperating and like helping each other rather than just competing. Like, I'm gonna.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't get to like a competition. Like, even with the older guys that have been doing it longer, it's just like if you kind of click, it's like, oh, I like this person.
Yeah,
it's really strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very humble about it. I try not to be. I mean, I'll be a little arrogant. Like, if I have a good show, I'll call my mom and be like, I killed last night. I mean, it's like I said, it's not like there were like 10,000 people that I killed. It doesn't matter though.
Yeah. So it's like, and then I guess if you help other people, then they'll help you too.
Hopefully, yeah. But if they don't, that's fine.
Yeah, you do it because you want to and you enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm selfish and I want to do it for myself. I want to book my own shows. I want to book my own mics and do whatever the fuck I want. And then, like, yeah, because like other comics that I know have gone on to get like regular slots at like the comic strip, and I was gonna do one at Broadway Comedy Club. I'm like, maybe I just don't want to. Maybe that's not where I'm at yet. Maybe I'm not looking to be there. Maybe I'm good where I'm at.
All right, and I guess. Is that about it? Is that all?
Yeah, I got nothing else.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, man. It's been so much fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully people will pick up on your show and you'll get rich and famous and quit your job and buy a new house.
Sounds good.
Act. Just act professionally?
Yeah.
Or something. What would you do?
I mean, I just kind of, I don't know. I guess just keep, like, doing the creative stuff. Yeah. I'm just like anything in that realm, like whether it's doing a podcast or like acting or writing or.
Because you have the bug, you can't stop now.
Yeah, and it all can kind of tie together.
Yeah,
sometimes
totally.
too. Like because there's a lot of comedians that they end up they do a show like so they'll have like their own TV show they put together and stuff. Or they'll like write a book or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd ever try stand-up, though. I don't know.
Come on. What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah.
It hurts. It's totally worth it, though. It's totally worth it.
I definitely want to do, like voice acting and, like, different characters and stuff like that. So I could do, like, imitations.
I mean, that's an art form in itself. Yeah. I mean, it's like, character work. Yeah, I mean, it's like doing stand-up, doing voiceover work, definitely.
Yeah.
And a lot of stand-ups get voiceover work because they've been doing...
They do impressions and stuff like that.
Weird, like Maria Bamford, just does a wide range of stuff. Gilbert Gottfried. I could talk for hours about comedy. Oh my god.
All right. Well, yeah, I think that does it for today. So
Thanks,
for
man.
coming on.
Awesome. It's been so much fun.
Alrighty, so that about does it for today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you want to keep updated with future episodes, you can find me on Spotify and iTunes, and also you can go to my blog, bsingwithseank.blogspot.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that too. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say for today. It was good chatting with Sean Gibbs, and yeah, definitely check out like one of his comedy gigs. Follow him on social media and all that. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next episode.
BSing with
Who?
BSing with
What?
BSing with Sean K.